here. So this is our reference picture for today. It's a still life. So we're just looking at some simple shapes today. And we might do a bit of a color study. So we might play with the colors a little bit in this. So we'll take a minute so everyone can get their supplies. You can, for this week, you can use any colors, but you will need red, green. So all the ones that we usually use. So I have my green, I have red, green. You may need yellow. Probably will be using yellow. So yellow. Maybe blue, probably blue. So for the blue, because it's for the shadow, it can be any color. So it can be blue, but it can also be purple or anything dark will work for that. You will probably need brown. So I have a brown here. You will probably need that. And of course, you always need white. So this one we always use. But when you paint, just get all your colors out. So you can use all your colors. Yeah. Okay, let's get started for now. So we are going to make a basic sketch first and then start squeezing out our colors. Oh, I'll leave this. Actually, I'm going to leave this up for the person who just joined us. Okay. So we can get started. The first thing we want to do is landmark where our things are going to be. So in our sketch, oh, I forgot to mention, but you also need some sort of pencil. So any sort of pencil. So the first thing we want to do is landmark where our things are going to be. So first, I want to mark out this big block and my pear. So I'm going to make a line. So my pear is, the top is going to be here. Something like this. I'll just draw a line. And then my bottom of my pear. Actually, let's draw out the bottom of the block first. So let's mark that out. I think it's about in the middle of the page, a little bit lower than middle. So maybe here, something like that. And then we can find where our pear is. So our pear is going to be right here. And then we can mark out the rest of it. So this here is going to be the shape of your pear. Here is going to be that block. I think the tomato will be up here. So it'll take place right here. So we can mark down where our tomato is. So this is our tomato. And then we can mark out the rest of the plate. So our plate, probably around here. Just underneath that. And you can also add the table corner. So it's just, you can't see this very well, but it's going to be, let me show you, an angled line down. So you just, oh, I think it's going to be longer. So you're going to cut off that corner. Just cut off this corner and bring it up. And then with that, we can actually start to sketch out our objects. So let's start with the big box. I think it's too big, but that's okay. So when you're sketching the box, don't worry about the perspective way too much, but this line should be parallel with this one, and same on this side. So this line should be quite parallel with that one. Yeah, I want my box a little bit longer. Same thing up here. So this line should be parallel with the one I'm drawing up here. So I actually want these two parallel. This one may need to be a little flatter. If it's wonky, it's okay. Don't worry about it because there will be the pear on top. So now looking at my pear, I initially put it here, but I think I'll move it a little bit higher. So when you draw out the shape of your pear, it's a little bit like a diamond. It's like a round diamond shape. You know what? It's shaped like a lemon. If you want, you can also mark out the shadows on the object. This one actually has two. So this picture probably had two light sources. So one coming this way, another coming this way probably. Yeah, that's why you can see the pear has, the picture it has two shadows. So one here, one behind. You can also mark out the tomato. The tomato is quite big, so it's going to take up quite a bit of space on this side. Okay, and then I'll bring out my plate a little more. And then I just want to mark out my paintbrush here. So my paintbrush, the lines follow, because it's leaning against the box, the lines of the paintbrush actually follow these ones. So they're going to be parallel. And then these lines are independent, so they're not really parallel of anything. They're just there. Okay, and then we add this side. And then we go along this side. It's okay if it's not like straight or whatever, you can fix it when you paint. And don't forget that lovely cloth behind here. So that's our still life setup. And we'll just give everybody some time. Oops. There we go. That's better. We'll give everybody some time to finish their sketch here. So maybe a couple minutes. And from there, we can start painting. Okay, let's get started with actual painting. So you're gonna want to pick a color for your background. And maybe a color for the cloth and the table. So I squeezed out some red already, but you can go ahead and squeeze out some colors to use. For the background today, I think I'm going to go brown and white, or I'll mix a bunch of colors together and see how that goes. And then I will squeeze out some yellow. So you can just squeeze out whatever. It's all usable. Okay, so we can start painting. So just get all of your colors squeezed out. I usually like to just squeeze everything out in one go and then go from there. Acrylic does dry pretty fast, but if you work fast, that's okay. And then I'll squeeze out my green. So any color that you want to use, just go ahead and squeeze it out right now. Doing this gives you a more flexible palette. Let's start painting. So the first thing I'm going to do is throw some color into my background. And that can literally be any color. So for me, I'm making, I don't know, this is too brown, too accurate to that brown color. I think I want more red. So you just keep mixing it until you get a color that you're like, okay, that's okay. Right? It's the background, doesn't really matter, right? And then you're gonna go ahead and just put that in. You might need to add some water to your paint. So go ahead and add that whatever color you choose for your background. Really doesn't matter. And then start just putting that in the background. Acrylic painting is not like you have to mix the perfect color or whatever. It looks a little, it looks better if you are just using what you have. So try to get kind of close to the box, okay, if you overlap it. Doesn't really matter. Right, because you'll come back later anyway, right? So for the background, you can add some water to your paint to make it stretch a little bit more, because the background doesn't matter too much. So very roughly, I'm just going around the pillar. And then when I mix, if I run out of the color and I want to mix more, it really doesn't even matter if the color is the same. So don't spend a lot of time trying to get it exactly the same. Because having the different colors, like I have some brown in there now, having the different colors is what makes the painting have depth. So if everything is all the same, if you're spending a lot of time trying to get everything to be exactly the same, the painting when it comes out doesn't have as much depth because everything is one color. It looks very flat. Okay, and you will have a lot of leftover paint on your palette. And you might be asking, what do I do with this color? Well, you can use it still. So I have a bunch of extra. So I'm actually going to take it and add some a little bit everywhere in my painting. So maybe I add some here. You just kind of play with it. And then I know my fabric is here, so I'm adding a little bit. I think one effective way of painting is not to work on one object at a time. When people get started, beginners, I feel like they'll spend a lot of time working on one object and then you have to mix the colors again for the next object. So this is more effective if you put a little bit here and put a little bit there when you're first working. So I picked this pink color and it's warm, it's very warm, it's very light. So that means it's good for highlights. So that's my reasoning of where I'm putting it. So if you can look on this picture, right, the places I'm putting it, like here, or on the edge of the paintbrush, see, you can see that on the edge, it has a natural highlight. So that's why I'm putting the pink there. So if you used a different color for your background, let's say you used dark blue. So that's a very cool shadow color. Instead of putting it in these areas in the highlights, you would add it to these shadow areas instead. Okay, so now I'm going to bring out some of my table here. So just lay some of that color down in here. This doesn't mean my table is going to be pink. It just means my table will have some pink in it. So my table will still be brown, but I want the highlights of the pink to come through. So what this is also called is, it's almost like an underpainting. So if you ever work in oil paint, This is usually what they do. Okay, now what I want to do is start picking at the fabric in the back. So you can pick any color for this fabric. It won't matter at all. So you can literally pick any color ever. I think it will look nice in a blue, like a light blue. So I'm going to mix a light blue here. It probably will look good in anything light or green, even. Green or purple or pink is all fine. So you can pick a color for that. So my color choice today is blue. So what I'm going to do is basically I just start. So I leave my pink undercoat and I add that color in there. See? So I add it in, and blue I know is blue is a shadow color because it's a cool color. So when I use it, it's gonna be on the bottom. So it's gonna be where the shadows are, not on the bottom, sorry. So there's my cloth so far. I'm also gonna use the blue to start marking out. So sketching out where my shadows are. So there's one underneath my paintbrush. Yeah, so when we paint, we try to use our brush to sketch as much as possible. There's one underneath there. There's also a shadow underneath here. So in the end, your shadow might not actually be blue, but you're just using this color so that you can mark it out for yourself. Okay, there's one under the tomato. I would say over here, I don't know if you can see, but over here. So the table here. And over here, I don't know what's happening here, but that's okay. So you can see how this doesn't have to be blue. It can be any color. It'll work with anything. And then we'll start looking at some of the shadows up here. So right here under, there's two. Oh, and let's not forget the one underneath our paintbrush. I just want to bring out these little the stems and things so that I know where they are later. Okay, so now you can kind of see how this works. You're making an underpainting. Now we can block out our colors. So this is kind of an underpainting that we've done here. Now we can start blocking out the colors. So what I mean by this is I'm just gonna wash my brush so it's clean. Okay, so what I mean by this is I'm gonna go in with red and just block out this entire tomato. So my red is a little bit too bright, so I'm add a little bit of orange to make it a little bit softer. It's very, very red. Okay. So I just go in and I want to leave some of my pink showing. So I don't want to block the whole pink off. So you see, I'm leaving some of the pink, right? I'm not blending it, I'm just leaving it. For blending, oil colors work better. So if you're oil painting, that's a lot better for blending. With acrylics, acrylic doesn't blend super well, in my opinion, because it dries very fast. So this style of painting is a little bit better for acrylic. So you want to keep some of that and just block out your object here. So block that out. And this thing is also red. And then same thing for your pear. So your pear is going to be yellow, maybe a bit of green, or if you don't have green, just mix some blue in there until you get a somewhat pear color. If it's too bright, you can tone it down by adding a dot of brown. So there's my brown. If you add a dot of brown, it'll tone down the green so it's not as bright and it looks more pear colored. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put that into my pear. Again, same idea. I want to leave some of my pink. So I just put it in there, leave some of my pink showing a bit. That's fine. And at this point, once you get those kind of in there, you want to start adding some shadows. So shadows and highlights to everything here. So I'm gonna go and add some shadows to these objects. So I will use the original color here, but I'm going to mix some blue or brown into that. So anything super dark, if you mix it in, so you can use blue or brown. You can use straight up blue. It doesn't matter. And then what you can do start placing in some of your shadows there. If you want it to be even brighter, you can add more red. So I'm going in with my super bright red as well. And I just want to make some parts like super bright. And later we can go in and make highlights. So we can go in with white, or you can even do it now. So you can add like, for example, if you see here, right here, there's a highlight. You can add some yellow. Like that, see? Same thing up there. So you want to add some yellow. So up here, if you wanted to add some yellow green, oops, I need to remix mine. So I've made some lighter green here that I'm going to start just putting in there. Yeah, I'm not blending today. I really just want to get those colors down. And you remember, you can also use this green for the stems. So I've added some brown to this green to make this darker green. And I'm using this to mark out my stems here. Same thing with shadows up here, just add a darker color to the one you're using to make a shadow. And then you add it in where that shadow is. So right here. And also I want to add the shadow to the bottom here. So I'm going to add a bit of that green to my other shadows, just for more depth. Along with that, I'm going to add my bright white highlights to this tomato here. So this tomato has a couple of big bright highlights that you will want to put in there. And same with the pear. So go ahead, add some, see if you can get that white highlight in there. Yeah, I have a lot of green left over. I'm not quite sure what to do with it. So I suppose I will add some everywhere as well. There's a shadow over here. And this whole thing is kind of a shadow. So this entire side. Okay. Now I get to add in brown for the table and then some white beige colors for everything here. Then I add deep shadows and bring whatever this is out. So onto the table, I'm gonna make it brown like it actually is. So I'll mix in my white with my brown. And I'm just going to start blocking this entire table in. I'm gonna go in a direction like this because I wanna keep the pink showing a little bit. Excuse me. So you're gonna go in and keep in mind you still have this shadow, so I'm just gonna try not to touch it. Oh, oops. So go in, cover all of that. And with that brown, you can also mark out where this paintbrush is. So this paintbrush is gonna be over here. Okay, now your table your table is starting to take shape. So your table is starting to form. Right, you can see. Then I'm gonna add a big blob of white to my brown, because this is going to be the color of all my plates. My plate and my box are both white, so I'm gonna go and so I'm not using pure white. Mine is a little bit muddy. And the reason is the pure white is very, it's super bright, and it kind of makes your, like, it kind of hurts your eyes. So same with my box, I'm gonna go in and paint. Paint my box. And the top of my box, of course. Along with, while I'm using this color, any highlights I want to bring out here. So along the cloth, you may want to bring out some highlights. And of course, down here, there's lots happening in this table that you may want to bring out. So you can add highlights into the wood. So go ahead and kind of play around with it. Totally forgot we had that up there. So I forgot we had the wood. I might need to squeeze some more brown for that. So this one up here. Maybe this thing right here. I've been ignoring this thing, but it won't go away, so I'll paint it. I've gone with some yellow for this handle. So you want to keep adding layers. You can see how my entire painting is just layer on layer. So you really want to work with the layers. So this entire painting is super pastel. It's actually missing those dark shadows. So for these ones, you can use purple or blue. So the darkest color, I'm using blue. And I'm gonna add some brown to my blue. And it's gonna create a very dark shadow color that will help the painting pop. So I'm gonna go in, mix those together. This color has a name. It's called Payne's gray, and it's like a blue. It forms a very dark blue-gray color. And it works very nice for shadows, and I'll show you what I mean here. So it's almost black, but in real life, it has more depth than black. It looks better. So if you can learn to make this color one of your best friends, your shadows are going to look very awesome. Oops, that one is too much. Yeah, basically, don't be afraid of using weird colors or weird color combinations or whatever. That's how you get the depth. That's how you get depth in the painting. I'm not sure what happened here. This one actually, I think it's bigger. There we go. Go ahead and make that shadow. bigger. And then I'm gonna add way more depth down here. I love this color for shadows, but you can also use purple. And if you're feeling very adventurous, you can use red. So anything dark. I'm just gonna add some texture in the wood. So you can look back at the painting and think, you know, which objects are missing something. So that's probably going to be this one. This object is not, it's a little bit fading into the distance. So to deal with that, I'm actually going to define this object more. So going with some dark yellow here. And then I'll go in with some white in the back. Another option to bring it out is simply just to make the background darker. So if you make the background darker, so I'm adding a bunch of water so I can get this area. So if you just make the background darker, the object will come out. That's another option. So you can make the object lighter, or you can just make the background darker. Okay, final touch today, I'm going to add white highlights. So here, oh, I need a cleaner brush. This one's super dirty. Oh, no matter. It's okay. I'll use it for a bit. I think I might change the color of the cloth. I don't really like the way that it looks. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with pink just to change the color of this cloth. Mostly because I think this part right here, it looks the same. Yeah, I like that more. That's pretty interesting. And then I'll just put the rest in these little corners. I don't know if you can see. Okay, so I think for this week, we can stop here. As we have, oh, right on time, we got 1 more minute. So I would encourage you, so in your free time, just keep playing with this and see where it takes you.